Alright, so while waiting for 2 p.m. to hit the clock, so let me greet you to say thank you for attending our webinar this afternoon, which is entitled Better Together: How Organizations Can Be Better at Home. So, as I can see here in my Blue Jeans Blue Jeans dashboard that we have for attendees. So for those who will be following later on, they'll just listen from the discussion. Okay. So with that, once again, thank you for making time to this webinar. May you have a very productive and insightful learning experience as we go ahead. So just to introduce myself, my name is Gladys Santiago Zafra. I am a consultant of Great Place to Work. A little background about myself. I am an HR professional. So for those attendees who are in the HR field, I understand your language in terms of your situation and the day-to-day journey that you're going. So it's like whatever you are experiencing, I feel you from there. So yes, so with that, I'll be facilitating this webinar, and some of the ground rules that are laid here. So I'd like to request to place your audio on mute, but more importantly, participate, participate, participate. So should you want to share in the middle of our our webinar about your insights or your thoughts or your feelings about the topic, feel free to do so and unmute. But for now, while while this is being facilitated, put your audios on mute. Okay? Okay, so the webinar framework that we have right now is what we call ELA. ELA stands for exchange. So we want you to share your practices regarding work from home experiences in your workforce. And we want you to listen, so know ways on how organizations provide more support to their workforce. So I'll be sharing with you a case study on how this organization has been doing work from home, especially right now that we transition from ECQ to MECQ. Some of the organizations have have deployed their workforce to go to their offices, but not 100%. So majority of the organization's workforce are still on work from home, primarily because they still want to be on the safe
The
side.
safe side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear. Oh, okay. Oh, we have more attendees. Hello. I'd like to request for some of the participants to keep your microphones on mute so that there's no feedback and other sounds that may be coming up. And of course, we want to act. So, so at the end of the session, this is our call to action in terms of how do we determine to have a mindset of care and support to your workforce. Okay, so it's participation time. So later on I will share on the screen or on the message panel the link of Padlet. So this is what you'll be seeing on the screen. So it's like a virtual corkboard wherein you will be placing there your practices regarding work from home experiences. And then from the post-its that will be shared, you can also provide your comments on the post-it that was pasted by the participants. So for instance, in this example, make sure to end the workday at 6 p.m. Then you can add, oh yes, us too. So there. So let me just shift to the screen. Let me just copy the link and I will paste it at the message. There you go. At the message pane. So by then you'll be able to see the link. So from there, click on it and then You click on the plus sign, answer the question, or provide your insights or sharings of your practices regarding work from home experiences of your workforce. I will give you 2 minutes to share. So share away. Yes, so it's working. Coaching sessions, show more empathy to our team members. Session, online engagement activity. Very good. I like it. So many sharings for today, and I'm happy that there's one comment on absolutely regular check-ins, but make them sincere and intentional. Very good. So many post-its to share. Our virtual dashboard or corkboard is very maximized. Mandatory ECQ leaves. Yes, actually, that's been happening in some of the organizations that we have talked to. So, okay. 2 minutes left. Sige, I will give you additional 3 minutes to share more practices. Internet allowance. Yes, that's very much applicable to a lot of organizations, primarily because we're doing work from home. Therefore, it's expected to their employees that somehow their internet is very much working. Don't worry, we have 3 minutes to go. If you can share more, absolutely. Weekly virtual town halls, very good. We can share. I decrease the screen size of our virtual corkboard to see everyone's inputs. Hmm, right. Have 52 seconds. I love it. People are interacting through this dashboard, through this virtual corkboard. So amazing. Need ideas. Hey, time's up. All right, so let's start reading the comments that you've shared here. All right, so let's begin. So one said, dealing with despair as it brings the hidden monsters out of people. Oh, wow. But yes, that is true, which is why the mental wellness and mental health is very much imperative and important at this point. Coaching sessions should still happen on a regular basis. Yes, that is true. And two, two have commented, now more than ever, the virtual workplace can be tricky, especially for performance management. Ah, yes, that's true. Because whenever there are performance management sessions, the one-on-one meetings wherein you managers or supervisors provide feedback to their employees, it's very important. Therefore, it's still im- it's still very much valid to have these face-to-face interface interactions because you get to see the facial expressions and the and the feelings and of course the body language of the evaluatee. So it's very important. Unlike here virtually, it's quite hard and difficult to decipher. So yes, so I agree with you on that. And running alternative modules for everyone. Not necessarily required, but it's not all about work. Really important. With our move to virtual, we need to do away with our one size fit all approach. Yes, that's true. So this is actually a challenge for all of us to be creative as to how we maximize this little box called, our virtual reality and make ways for us to run our HR organizations. Okay, next. Weekly virtual town halls, daily team meetings, rule to always have video turn on. Yes, that's true, and that's very imperative. Really important. Most employees pay attention to company announcements more so than, say, government announcements, which tends to be confusing. Nako, that's going to be a different topic about government announcements. But yes, a lot of people can actually relate. Internet allowance. Yes, actually a lot of organizations, especially those who are certified great place to work companies, they have shared to us that they provide internet allowance already. Online engagement activities. Oh, wow. So many comments. For instance, one said, yes, but let's tailor to the practical situations of our employees, maybe. So this is where you get back to the drawing board and what's actually more fitting to your employees. Need ideas, please. So hopefully from this session you will get at least ideas as to how you can do it. You also get to assimilate and assess and introspect if it will be feasible in your organizations. We do Zoom quiz nights and online games, online one-on-one coffee breaks and contests. Wow. That is so nice. And anything, even non-work related, just to break monotony. We had online quiz show on trivia about our workplace. Nakakamiss. Yes, actually, ang dami rin talagang nagsasabi, nakakamiss talaga sa office. So there. One said they provide mandatory ECQ leave, show more empathy to our team members as they have to balance work and family commitments. One commented, absolutely, regular check-ins, but make them sincere and intentional. We've set up an FB page to address questions and concerns during ECQ/GCQ. And yes, this is the example that I provided. Make sure to end the work at 6 p.m. So, thank you so much for all the inputs, the insights, the practices that you are doing in the organization. So maybe this is the time for us, for some, to unmute their microphones and, share a bit about, your examples that you provided, like the Zoom quiz nights and online games. Like, how did you do it, and how did your employees get to be so game and engaged in this virtual activity? Maybe one or two can share. I am opening the floor, the virtual floor, to the participants. So, in terms of our participants, we
Hi,
have
Gladys.
Hi, hello. Who's this?
Hi, this is Leo from Saitel, Baguio. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Leo. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Hi. All right. Actually, I think I posted like three answers
Oh,
here,
wow.
but I think I could talk about, yeah, I could talk about the Facebook page to address questions and concerns. Unfortunately, we do not have any system where agents would have access to um, ask questions directly to their supervisors unless they have their contact information. So what was decided by the leadership was, at least here in Baguio, to have a Facebook page. So, pretty much, there's a very small percentage of people who do not have Facebook. So we figured it was a platform that everybody had. And we practically turned out to be like information center galore. So, everything from
Wow.
SSS, Pag-ibig to City Hall to everything. Yeah, so that's also where we announced, we have what we call virtual hugs. So people
Yes.
would, we campaigned if people could part with some of their salary to help those people who are really on no work, no pay, um, among other things. So it's really busy, and that's the reason why I said about dealing with despair, because
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
mean it's an unusual time. No, nothing really prepared, any of us for this. So people who would usually be, nice and everything, so come despair, so they act out, they don't understand, and we kind of like get the brunt of it. So we had to adjust to that also, and I echo the sentiment about empathy, because personally, I think that I'm very very fortunate even at this time, and others couldn't say the same about it. So when people get nasty, I really had to turn it around and think of it from their perspective. Do my best to understand. And I think that's true empathy at work. Yeah. So there.
This is where we wear our empathy hat and try to understand where the other side is coming from. I like the idea of maximizing the FB page. It has become an immediate HR kiosk or HR customer service. So, which is very good. You are maximizing the available tools that we have. More so, the employees are very much heard about their concerns, even up to the eternal government mandate. Government statutory benefits have been addressed in your organization. Thank you so much, Leo, for your sharing. Okay, one last 5 seconds for some brave soul, for a brave soul to share. Bye. Okay. So the the sharing floor has been closed. So requesting for you to mute your. Oh wait, we have a comment. No worries, appreciated. Okay, so basically, what we're saying here is that when we to summarize what we've discussed is that all of you are, it's like you are not alone in going through the journey of the challenges of this pandemic. And in terms of your work from home practices, a lot of people, even in other countries, are also going through these experiences and these challenges. So, it's very limiting, but at the same time, like what I said earlier, it brings out more in creativity in us on how to motivate and engage our workforce. So, just to introduce ourselves to you guys. So that's why in Great Place to Work, we hear a lot of stories about organizations who are going through the same challenges, like especially with this pandemic, it has really changed our lives. And so in Great Place to Work, more than hearing the stories of these organizations, we are here to help in terms of ensuring that their workplace culture is, greater and even the best. So with that, in Great Place to Work, so we are the global authority on workplace culture. We are present in 60 countries. We have we have companies that are listed in Fortune 100 best companies to work for, and annually we survey 10 million employees worldwide. So I will go into the importance of surveying your employees. But before that, let's hear one case study that we'll be presenting to you. And before going to the case study, so let me proceed with our mission statement. So our mission statement is to build a better world by helping organizations become great places to work for all. This is also a challenge for so many organizations right now going through these challenges. Even if they say that they need to go cost cutting, and they also implemented mandatory ECQ leaves for cost-saving initiatives and other things to save costs. They still have this movement in their hearts that they want to build a better world for their work. And it's really nice to hear a lot of heroic stories that organizations are doing for their workforce. So so in this case, we've been hearing a lot of stories about furloughs and a lot of forced leaves in the organization, and some downsizing and right sizing in organizations in different countries. But in spite of that, there are also organizations who have become heroes to their employees. For instance, these assistants that they provide, and also shifting their costs from what was budgeted before to what to alternative initiatives that is very much relevant to what's happening now. So I'll share with you something later on. So in a nutshell, they want to uphold this mission statement, this movement to their workforce. So just to share about the model, so we say that is a great place to work is one which you can trust the people you work for, have pride in what you do, and enjoy the people you work with. So, in this setup, how can you have a great workplace when we're all working from home? Is it possible? Well, the answer is yes. And even if we're working from home, they still ensure that the key relationships towards management, employees, and job are still in place. And in terms of these key relationships, we talk about the five dimensions of having a great key relationship with their management, employees, and job. And so with these dimensions that you are seeing right now, you might be thinking, how is this relatable to some organizations? So watch out for it. So in terms of the definition of each of the dimensions, so we say that in credibility, we measure the extent to which employees see management as credible. In terms of respect, we measure the extent to which employees feel respected by management. In fairness, it measures the extent to which employees perceive that management practices and policies are fair. In pride, measures employees' sense of pride in their work. In camaraderie, measures employees' sense of camaraderie in the workplace. So you might be thinking, is this actually happening organizations that they get to intertwine and align these dimensions into their day-to-day initiatives. Watch out for it. Okay. Aside from the trust model that I showed, another definition of a great workplace from management perspective is when managers can achieve their organizational objectives with people who give their personal best and are able to work together as a team, all in the environment of trust. So, in Great Place to Work, aside from the survey that we conduct, we also do culture audit, wherein in the culture audit, we see the 9 practice areas of these organizations. So how do organizations achieve organizational objectives? So how do they inspire their employees? How do they speak to them? How do they listen to them? So in terms of people who give their personal best, how do organizations care for them? How do they develop them in their career growth and succession in the organization? And how do they thank employees in their small wins? And working together as a family, all in the environment of trust. So how do they do their hiring practice? How do they celebrate? And how do they share? Especially in times like right now, hiring employees, ooh, that is so challenging. Like how can you hire when you cannot how can candidates go to the office or something? So virtual interviews. But in terms of virtual interviews, how can we still follow our structure and our process with this kind of setup? So I'll discuss that to you later on. Okay. So we have in Great Place to Work what we call better together. So with the COVID-19 as a global pandemic, it provides leaders, organizational leaders, the opportunity to hear how their employees are thinking and feeling, inform both short-term support plans and the long-term need to rebuild, and celebrate heroism in the organization. Like you've been hearing in the news, like organizations provide their 13th month pay to their employees. Organizations provided another cash component to their employees just for them to keep them going in times like this. So the message here is that yes, you are going through such, and we're all in this together. Okay, I will share with you a case study, or, the best practice story about Canva Manila. As you know, Canva Manila is a certified great place to work organization, and they are recently recognized and awarded as best workplaces in the Philippines. So in Canva, how have they done it, or how did they do it, or, what's up with them? How have they been in this crisis? So looking at the trust model that we have, you'd be wondering, how is their senior management credible in times like this? So what they do, or what they've done, is an adaptability and asset of business continuity, and compassionate leadership is an imperative. So breaking it down into two, in terms of adaptability and asset for business continuity, when when the announcement of the enhanced community quarantine came in, they are very much ahead of their curve towards work from home arrangement. Kumbaga, they have foreseen it and they're ready should this situation come in. And operations were moved to virtual platforms. And compassionate leadership is an imperative. So their main priority is the people agenda took center stage amid the pandemic. So they prioritized their employees. And provisions of food stipend directly credited to payroll. Just to share that in Canva, they have their own kitchen and they have their own cafeteria, wherein their kitchen staff is also part of the Canva workforce. But then because, no office, everyone's working from home, so that cost for the food stipend has transformed into crediting into their pay. and ensure that mental and physical health are closely monitored by in-house coach and external health provider. So in Canva, they hired an executive life coach, or sorry, a life coach, to ask the welfare of their employees, because at this point in Canva, employees are, struggling in terms of how they can be productive with the environment that they have at home, so because it's so hot, and sometimes even if there's internet allowance in which Canva provides, there's still there are still bugs going on, they also have to, because people at home is also something that they go through. So their in-house life coach is there to process what they're going through, and at the same time to empathize with them, what the journey that they are facing in this work from home setup. And of course, in terms of external health providers, so they coordinated with their with their their provider in terms of how can they be more physically strong, like what can they do, what must be eaten, and what are the exercise that must be done. So I'll be sharing that with you later on. Just to share as well, so the head of HR, Van Sonso, could not join in this call. He's really willing to share more insights about this, more best practices, more stories. However, he's in a meeting, but after this call, I will be leaving his email addresses should you want to give him a chat about, hey, how do you guys do it in Canva, and so on. So in terms of the details, Vanson is very much willing to talk to you guys. After all, we are one HR community who's here to help and support one another. Okay, moving on. So in terms of respect, what they have done is that they acknowledged and respected every Canvanaut's needs. So what they call their employees, they call it Canvanauts. It's so cute, right? And they also ensure the momentum to motivate the team members through daily check-ins. So how do they do it for each of these components? So in terms of acknowledged and respected every Canvanaut's needs. So they identify what must be filled in terms of the gaps. And then they focused on enablement at home. Therefore, they provided a happy home setup. So they have like guidelines on how to have a happy home in a work from home setup. And then from there, they ensure the momentum to motivate the team members through daily check-ins. So they continue on being creative and produce quality templates and designs, and proven fruitful, especially when they were able to deliver hundreds of templates related to COVID-19 in less than a week. So just for those who are not aware about Canva, so Canva is a software application wherein any consumer can create templates and visual graphics through your mobile phone or through your desktop computer. So a if you are a less creative person like me who needs to create more visually attractive materials, then Canva has a lot of ready-made materials, and then it's up to the user on how to customize it. So in terms of the products or the outputs that must be given, that entails so much creativity. And given the situation, so the organization ensures that, oh wow, we need to feed the souls of these Canvanauts to bring out the best in them and bring out so much creativity amidst this challenge. So this is what they have done in terms of respect. And then in terms of fairness, so it circles back to compassionate leadership and linked to realistic targets based from the new normal. And they revisited their metrics, SLAs, and KPIs. So in terms of this example, so for circling back, compassionate leadership linked to realistic targets based from the new normal, they evaluated the minimum that will not create problems and challenges. and they revisited the metrics and KPIs. So they ensured that the transition would not impact vital targets, and they ensure that people who do not feel bad as they started adjusting to working alone and not having their support groups nearby. So for instance, in one example, so for their customer service, so in a month they always have set percentages or that must be achieved or set goals, no? So in a month they said that okay, we have to achieve 83% productivity at this time. But because COVID hit and people have been mandated to work from home, the target is still the same at 83%. However, Canva became flexible on the timelines or the quota requirements. That's how they've done it. So in the end, productivity even increased more. Okay. In terms of pride, so they provided free use of Canva Pro to critical healthcare stakeholders. For instance, this is the Department of Health, RITM, and help disseminate vital information visually across social media. And recently, which was yesterday, they helped children's schooling move to remote setup by enabling educators. So yesterday they had a collaborative call with DepEd or Department of Education. And from there, they promulgated this movement of remote setup by enabling educators. So from here, they help disseminate vital information virtually across social media. So the information about COVID-19 that came from Department of Health, RITM, was from them in terms of what is COVID, how can it be transmitted, and how can it be prevented, and so on. So what Canva did was that they needed to create something that is visually appealing to everybody. So I'm sure for some of you, you've seen a lot of campaigns by Department of Health and in RITM, and our research check on the what RITM's Research Institute of Tropical Medicine, if I am not mistaken. And so from there, they have disseminated these FAQs. Their Research Institute for Tropical Medicine. That's RITM. Okay, and so from there, they have disseminated everything. So I'm sure you've seen it in the social medias of these institutions. And they've also helped these information dissemination to other hospitals. And like what I shared, they help children's schooling move to remote setup by enabling educators. So they provided the Canva for education to K-12 educators and schools for free. So later on, Canva shared to me like, procedures and policies on how they can how they can how can how can they help parents adapt to the remote setup of learning. So so there. Okay, and of course, camaraderie. Keep the vibe alive. Just to share, Vibe is actually a department or a division in Canva. So Vibe is as equivalent as the office admin, or it's also the HR, but it's equivalent to employee engagement. But it's more focused on the administration side of things in their organization. So kaya they call that department the Vibe group. Diba? So it's very new, it's very young, it's very fresh, but it's very effective. So in terms of keeping the vibe alive, they initiated Slack channels to serve as outlets for various activities. So for example, they started with GGSS or Gandang-ganda sa sarili, or for some of our non-Filipino participants, this is basically I am so beautiful. That's how it translates for GGSS, and hashtag what's for lunch. So for GGSS, what they do is that they enable that Slack channel, and that they exchange tips on how to apply makeup and concealers, or how to properly dry their hair, those things. And then what's for lunch is that they they share pictures what they've eaten for lunch. There's one example wherein one employee, he had pancit canton for lunch, so he made it gastronomically attractive, wherein that employee did plating on his pancit canton. And then they also do Canva-fied exercise videos for team members and furry friends, so their pets are also included. And they've also subsidized mental health initiatives and gym memberships. Just to share with you, so they provide gym memberships, right? But because gyms at this point are closed, and there's one gym that has declared bankrupt. So what they did was that the cost for gym membership has converted into buy home exercise equipment and other things. So that's what they did in terms of being creative with the existing budget that they have. So that's the success story of Canva. So in aligning great place to work for all in terms of better for business, better for people, and better for the world, in terms of better for business, they said that with people being taken care of, they take care of the business. So this is like this is from the inspiration of Virgin Airlines, wherein they really take care of their people, and then as a return, people will take care of their company. And as for better for people, as the business is taken care of, people are able to keep their jobs and doing meaningful work. And in terms of better for the world, meaningful work impacts the organization, the immediate community, and the country and the world at large. So this is a case story of Canva. And we have heard so many fascinating stories from our certified companies and from the companies who have been recognized as best workplaces. So that is just one. More stories to come in our upcoming webinars. And so from there, our call to action for everyone here present in our webinar is that we have to start to act on how your organization prioritize personal work experience of your workforce. So we need to reinforce an intention of care. So going back to Canvas case study, in all dimensions of the trust index survey, there's always care that is taken in place, and they they give crucial insights on how to best support your workforce. So information is very much vital, but convert it into how you will support your employees or your workforce. And celebrate small wins. I mean, amidst all the crisis, the uncertainties, and the volatilities, there's always a silver lining in what's been happening on the day-to-day basis. And from these silver linings, there are always small wins. So, with that, how can Great Place to Work help you? So, it's very important to get the voices of employees. Therefore, surveying your employees is very, very important. And introspect on your existing culture. So given that yes, we are at home, like we miss going to the office so much. So maybe this is the time for us to reflect and introspect. What is our existing culture vis-a-vis how can it be aligned to our employer branding, and of course to employee engagement. And of course, we need to celebrate. So before I conclude, we have 2 minutes to go. So do you have any sharings or questions or concerns regarding what has been shared in this webinar? I heard someone is on unmute, so feel free to share. All right, none. So with that, thank you so much for your time in attending this webinar. We will share with, kindly leave your email addresses at the message pane so that we can email you the materials that have been shown to you. We will also send an evaluation form as to what are the strengths that must be maximized in this webinar and what are the areas for development in upcoming webinars that we'll be having in the next months to come. And most importantly, what other topics would you want to have in this discussion? So with that, thank you so much for your time and have a great day and stay safe. Bye-bye.